Thank you. From a troubling childhood to the rock and roll road and then the TV news business here in St. Louis and across the country, Mort Meisner has had a colorful life, and he finally compiled all those seemingly unbelievable stories into this candid memoir, Enough to Be Dangerous. I recently talked to the former TV exec turned agent about his new book.
Your book just came out this month. Why a book and why now?
Well, I thought about it for a number of years, and I had such an interesting life. Grew up in a very abusive household, tough upbringing, very poor. Was a major rock and roll promoter, and I had some really significant success in the TV news industry. So I had some good stories to tell, and hoping also to inspire some people that, I had certainly a cocaine abuse issue in the 1980s. Fortunately, that's 30 years in the rearview mirror, and maybe it could help some people.
Drugs are a theme in this book and in your life story too. How did that start, and how are you doing now?
Well, I'm great. I mean, it's been 31 years, but it started, you believe it or not, it didn't really start when I was a rock and roll promoter. I mean, we smoked weed in the 70s, everyone did. But it wasn't until 1981 when I moved to Chicago and I was at CBS and ABC News. It was so prevalent all over the networks. That didn't mean someone forced me, but I figured everyone's doing it, and so will I. And it really became a major problem. Then 1989, I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I stopped.
Well, drugs aren't the only issue in the TV industry. You were also talking about racism and sexism in the 80s and 90s, and unfortunately that is still certainly around. Why do you think that has continued to be such an issue in our industry for decades?
Great question. Too many white men and white women running newsrooms without any minorities on their management teams. I mean, it's disgraceful. That doesn't mean that your boss should be fired today and replaced. What it means is when he leaves or when there's openings, minorities need to be brought in. Number two, newsroom bosses often in the 70s, 80s, and 90s felt threatened for whatever reason by black men, and that's why you saw very few black males at the anchor desk.
You were also a major player in the local news scene here in St. Louis. Can you give us a tease of a story that we'll find in your book?
Yes. There's a great story where Dick Ford, who was a wonderful anchor, he anchored with the legendary Karen Foss at KSDK. It was Dick's birthday one day, and it was during the TWA hostage crisis. Well, someone sent Dick a singing telegram. So the guy comes in the newsroom, it's a Groucho Marx lookalike, and Dick looks up and says, "Get the hell out of my way, I'm writing a script." And the guy keeps singing happy birthday. Dick Ford took him by the lapels and threw him through the double doors of the newsroom and said, "Get the blank out of here."
Anything else that you want people to know about where you are in your career or what they'll find in your book?
Yeah, I mean, I think great rock and roll stories. I did Kiss, ZZ Top, David Bowie, Bruce Springsteen, major tours during the height of their careers. I will tell a fast Chuck Berry story because he was from St. Louis. I'm going to tell it the clean way. So Chuck, I once went on stage to announce, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome legendary father of rock and roll from St. Louis, Chuck Berry." He doesn't come out. So I go back to the dressing room.
That is where we had to end this TV version of the interview. Had to cut it off right there. If you want to hear the rest of that story, it's in Mort's book, Enough to Be Dangerous, and that's on sale now.